Okay, now the 6400 is recording. Let's get some sync. Should be good. All right, let's do this. Hey, welcome back, everybody, for another episode of Work 20XX. Coming to you from the home office today. We're doing something a little bit different, though. It's episode 13, and I'm a little bit superstitious, not super superstitious. I do knock on wood now and then, and I never mention lack of traffic until I reach my destination. But I'm never quite sure how superstitious the guest might be. So for episode 13, we're just going to go solo. You know, in season 1, we focused squarely on the things to help companies navigate their way through COVID and asynchronous communication, hybrid work, and bringing those best practices, really a lot from the remote world, into more of the hybrid world for companies that hadn't really focused there before. And as Darren Murph likes to say, you know, remote work forces companies to be good at things that all companies should be good at. We're halfway through season 2, and we're starting to shift the focus going forward. We're going to stay focused on communications and async, and it's going to continue to be an important theme. But we want to kind of shift a little bit into continuous learning. And clearly, since November of last year, you know, ChatGPT and generative AI have been at the top of the news cycle, the top of mind for everyone. And so as we go forward, thinking about how people should leverage tools, today's tools and tomorrow's tools, just like a calculator, you know, as Bill Schmarzo once said, if your job and your income is dependent on doing square roots, you know, you got replaced by a $1.99 Casio calculator many years ago. That said, these are important tools, and the people that know how to leverage them and use them to increase their productivity, to increase their reach, are the ones that are going to get ahead. So there'll be a slight shift, you know, as we go forward, wrapping up season 2 and heading into season 3 to talk about continuous learning, career development, and leveraging the latest tools like ChatGPT. We'll also talk about the evolution of the office. We've had a number of conversations with folks in the commercial real estate business. There's a real reckoning, I think, coming in office, traditional office, especially in the downtown core. But there's also a real opportunity to redefine what office is. And what we found in the past was that, you know, kind of the open floor plan was really just average. And average doesn't really ever work well for anyone because there's no average person. No one is average. And so we've seen a lot of innovation around, you know, kind of reformatting and rethinking what the office should be around the things where offices excel. And that's not just sitting in the office and doing Zoom calls or meetings. It's really around collaboration, socialization, and surprisingly for some, heads down focus work, kind of a library space. And so what we've discussed in the past and we'll continue to see and evolve going forward is spaces like the new LinkedIn headquarters that has 75 different types of seating configurations in the same building for different types of work or what people might want to do. So it's really this kind of activity-based focus. So we'll continue to watch this change in the office space in commercial real estate because I think it's going to be pretty transformative. There's going to be winners and losers, flex space, space as a service, and it'll still be in demand because there's a lot of things I can't do at home. I don't want to do at home, or there's just a reason that I want to go. But it looks a lot more like a restaurant. It looks a lot more like hospitality. How do you make the office attractive? How do you provide services that I can't get at home, just like a restaurant? Why do you go to a restaurant? Because it's something that you don't make at home, or you prefer the experience out at that restaurant. So what can we learn from those industries? And then on the hospitality side, again, most of the things that people are going to want to do in the office kind of look like an offsite. We've said it before, I'll say it again. The on-site is the new off-site. And what makes a successful off-site? A plan, an agenda, objectives, some meetings time, some fun time, some socialization time, some relaxing time. And really the whole idea is that it's very intentional and purposeful with an objective of why you're together. So as you think about that going forward, we'll continue to explore how, more of a kind of flex on-demand services-based approach, either within the building, within the individual tenant, or what I think we'll see more and more going forward is almost like the ecosystem within the building, providing a bunch of these services that then the occupants can get and sign up for as they need them. A podcast studio, a socialization space, an event space. So I think we're going to see more and more of that going forward. Another theme that I think we'll continue to see is this digital first or remote first is kind of how we started. But digital first is probably more accurate for most companies. And the idea being move as much work as you can to these digital asynchronous platforms. And that whether that be WebEx, whether that be Teams, whether that be Slack, etc. There's a number of them out there. But the more that you can move work to asynchronous, then what that does is it frees up your synchronous times for things that are more important. What's more important than status meetings? One-on-ones. Spend more time in one-on-ones with the people on your team. Get to know them better, help communicate the objectives of the company, the mission, and really get to understand what the drivers are for their world so that you can help motivate them and bring them along and help them be active participants in accomplishing the mission that you've defined as a leader. Another theme that really is kind of a summary of what we saw in season 1 is in terms of operational norms and, who comes in when and when do we come in and why do we come in around some of these hybrid work conversations. Let the group decide when they should come in, how they should come in, the frequency, the objectives. And as far as you can push that down, the better. They should be able to self-organize and work within what works for that group. It also really focuses managers to spend a lot more time thinking about output versus input. And we've seen this over and over again, is that before people were judged by their input. How much time did they put in? Are they there? Are they attending the meetings, etc.? Versus output. What are we trying to achieve? What do we need from people on what type of a time frame? What roadblocks are in the way that we can help them clear so that they can get their job done better? And really that gets into the servant leadership. Service leadership is another word. But the idea being is rather than to micromanage your tasks, what I want to do is keep you focused on the objective of hand, tell you where I want you to go, not necessarily how to get there, and then use my power, my resources as a leader to remove roadblocks. What can a leader do to help the people in their team accomplish their task by using their power and leverage and resources, influence, money, budget, whatever, to remove roadblocks, to help the team accomplish their goal. It's a little bit different, and a lot of people are kind of uncomfortable with it. But really, ultimately, that's what we're here for. That's what the business is for, is to achieve outcomes and objectives, not to measure inputs. You want to measure inputs in terms of your cost, et cetera, but at the end of the day, especially for knowledge workers, you want to worry about output. So really focus in and make sure that everyone knows exactly what we're trying to accomplish, why we're trying to accomplish it, and the tasks, the timeline that we're trying to accomplish it in. And if people have a problem with that, it's up to them then to come back to the manager and say, hey, I got some issues. Either I don't understand what you want from me, or I don't think I'm going to be able to do it on time, or to be able to do it on time, I need help on these areas, A, B, C. So that's really kind of this shift in a paradigm, if you will, to kind of what you hear about as service leadership or servant leadership. We'll continue to focus on communications. I can't stress enough how important I think it is to communicate, and over-communicate objectives, to stay close to your people, not with lots of weekly status meetings, but really with the one-on-ones that you're now going to have more time to do because you're going to move more work to an asynchronous platform as much as you can. Meetings can be good. They can be effective if they have an objective, if the people that are in the meeting are engaged. And how are they engaged? Well, they're engaged in the actual thing, the objective that the meeting is pulled together for, not just showing up for the meeting because I'm on a list and it's every week and I need to be there. Have a clear agenda, make sure that the objectives are clear, do all the little, the hygiene. There's a lot of meeting hygiene out there. This is not new information. Most people just don't do it, right? We fall into a routine. We don't have an agenda. We don't have expected outcomes. We don't give time for people to prep. Too often we see people are just in back-to-back meetings and trying to find little windows to work in actual work, whether that's really early in the morning or late after the kids go to bed. Cut down on your meetings, increase your one-on-ones, increase the move to async, move your operational norms down in terms of the definition and the control of the operational norms down as far as possible. These are going to continue to be important things as we go forward. So with that, thank you for being along for the journey. We're coming to the end of season 2. pretty shortly here for Work 20XX. We've got a couple of great episodes in the can that we'll be releasing shortly. Season 3 will be coming. If you're interested potentially in sponsoring Work 20XX, reach out to me. I'm excited to wrap Season 2, get Episode 13 out the door so we can move back to regularly scheduled guests like we like to do. And then Season 3 will be just around the corner. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Please be sure to like and subscribe and share with a friend. It really helps drive the algorithm, and it really helps, kind of spread the word. We're trying to spread the word to help people out. Forward to engaging with you on social media. And thanks again for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm Jeff Frick. We'll see you next time.